There's just so much.
You're listening to a Mamamia podcast.
Mamamia acknowledges the traditional owners of land and waters that this podcast is recorded on. Hi there, and welcome to Cancelled, a podcast where we put celebrities on trial for their crimes, and sometimes we do that and then they commit more crimes. So we got to come back.
I'd forgotten, have we done We have too.
Yeah, October 2021. But that's something...
That was a lifetime ago.
It happens in real courtrooms all the time. If you do more crimes, the judge says, come on, come back
again.
Back again. Oh my God.
Back you come.
It's called a retrial. It's not. That's a different thing. This is called a different trial.
A new trial.
It's called a new trial for a new crime.
Yeah. I'm Claire Stevens, and I'm joined by...
Jessie Stevens.
And to start today, the lazy girl stories have hit a stride. I'll say they're really, really good lately. So a couple of weeks ago, we mentioned the dog Paddington.
Yeah.
And we did get a message from Paddington's owner just saying, Paddington, thanks you for the shout out.
Oh,
so
that's lovely.
Paddington's doing well.
Did you see that we got an email that was like Lazy Girl collab? I haven't opened it because I'm too lazy, but I think there's an opportunity.
No, I opened it and I've dealt with it. God,
Good.
some of us have to actually do our jobs. A message. Fellow lazy girl here. One night, a lazy girl, she's got an emoji of herself putting her hand up.
Oh, wow, she found an emoji.
I woke up parched. Said lazy girl proceeded to drink water from the flower vase on her bedside table, as opposed to walking to the kitchen for a glass of tap water.
Lazy girl. She's a lazy
Girl.
Into that.
I actually
Tell me,
love that.
is it dangerous? Unsure. Actually, a fun lazy girl fact. A florist once told me that with my eucalyptus, if you put a teensy bit of bleach in the water, it stops it from going yuck.
Oh.
So I couldn't drink my bath water or I would die. Anyway.
Okay, I've got an admission.
What?
I have a glass of water that sits beside my bed in case I get parched in the night. And sometimes I hear, and it's my little puppy, and she's having a little sip. And sometimes I wake up in the morning and I think, how thirsty are you?
You still want
Thirsty enough to share water with my puppy.
Yeah. Okay, another one from a lazy girl. Lazy girl thing, but he's a boy. And we love that clarification.
Yeah. It's very Brooklyn.
This is about Courtney's toddler. And what he does is, Jessie, have you noticed this is a real toddler thing and I feel like we don't acknowledge it enough? A toddler, instead of, if I'm facing you and I want to spin around, I don't have the energy to spin around. Look at my legs. I can't move. My feet are flat.
Yeah.
I'm a toddler.
Yeah.
So all I do is I bend down and look between my legs.
Yeah.
And she said that's all her son does, is constantly, he's like a triangle, like just bending down, looking between his legs, like what's going on that way?
Behind me rather than turning around or craning one's neck.
Correct.
Lazy.
Baby. He's a lazy baby.
That's a great idea.
Correct,
But
Jessie. Gwyneth Paltrow, it could be said, is not a lazy girl. She's been quite busy since her last appearance in the cancel courtroom. In fact, she's been in a real courtroom. And for once, we're going to talk about that because it wasn't the real law, it was silly skiing law.
So there's a crossover there. It belongs more here.
It should never have gone to a real court. We could have got that man and Gwyneth and we could have sorted it all out. In our first Gwyneth Paltrow episode, which we did in October 2021, we discussed conscious uncoupling, vaginal steaming, being intentionally stung by bees, jade eggs, beauty routine, best quotes.
Go back and listen if you haven't. It's a real banger.
Yeah, look, and this is the thing. You can go back and listen. It's not essential.
No. No, we would never.
No, we don't. There's no required listening. Sorry. We can ask
We'll meet you where you're at.
to get your little finger and do a scroll. No. Or do a search.
No. You're listening to this one. You can't spell Gwyneth.
It's really hard because there's more things to talk about. And importantly, those things are unrelated to the other things.
former things.
So my structure for today is as follows. Firstly, the wellness podcast. Secondly, the skiing case. Thirdly, the time she mucked around Winona Ryder, which actually isn't new, but is something I remembered recently. The wellness podcast. In March this year, Gwyneth appears on a podcast called The Art of Being Well, hosted by a guy called Dr. Will Cole, who we'll get to in a moment. Interestingly, when a few clips from the podcast went viral, the first headlines were about how she shared she'd done ozone therapy rectally.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh, Gwyneth, she's done it again.
I have used ozone therapy rectally. It's pretty weird.
And wait, do we have confirmation on what? I mean, I just assume that's butthole. That's run-of-the-mill butthole sunning, isn't
so
it?
I don't think anybody even Googled it because we just assume it means administering ozone gas into your body via your bumhole.
Oh, but can't you just put your bumhole up to the sun?
No.
Wouldn't that be a cheaper version?
Okay, here's your mistake. You're thinking ozone layer,
Yeah.
and that's not the same as the sun.
Where do you find ozone layer?
I think you're thinking of butthole sunning.
Yeah.
And butthole sunning is different to ozone therapy rectally.
Okay, I repeat my question. What is ozone therapy rectally?
Unsure.
All right. Well, thanks for looking that up in preparation for this podcast.
Okay, someone on Twitter
Yes.
called it a reverse fart. So they
Okay.
take of that what you will.
Why is it that I now totally understand? It's an inserted fart. Okay, so we've
It's gas
it's an inserted fart.
into the butthole. Anyway, what happened when the media went ozone therapy rectally?
Gwyneth has normalised administering external farts internally.
Interestingly, what happened then? The media ran with that story, and the thing is they mismooded because that wasn't the headline. And sometimes it takes a few hours for you to do the story. Ha ha, Gwyneth is putting things up her butthole. And then...
Oh, hang on. We missed 21 minutes.
We
missed
We
that.
missed the not eating, and we underestimated how much that would upset people.
Between rectal ozone therapy, which we now think is inserting a fart via a tube into the anus, and a jade egg,
There's a lot going on.
there's a lot going on. There's a lot in there. In a small kind of
and then
area.
the sex toys. It's like you got something on every orifice.
Yeah, in every orifice. It's just a lot. Just so much
No
room for
one-
error.
No one talks about that enough. Here's a lesson from the cancelled courtroom about your orifices.
What? What's the lesson?
Leave them alone. Because you increase the risk of making a mistake when we start putting things inside.
Yeah.
But there was another headline, and Gwyneth doesn't eat. For context, Gwyneth did the entire interview hooked up to an IV as though she is a sick patient and not a Hollywood star who is just getting vitamins into her body because she doesn't eat.
Yeah.
So just FYI. In the interview, Gwyneth is interviewed by Dr. Will Cole about her wellness practices. Cole, it should be noted, is not a medical doctor. Does he use the title doctor and speak authoritatively about health, including about disease and COVID and so on? Of course. But if you assumed he was a medical doctor, that would be on you. He's obviously a functional medicine practitioner, a doctor of natural medicine and doctor of chiropractic, who, as he states on his own website, in a tiny little hidden away section, is in no way qualified to practice medicine or to diagnose or treat diseases or medical conditions.
I can't even do a blood test, I'm pretty sure.
So just, that's who she's talking to.
Okay.
In a viral clip from the podcast, Gwyneth tells Cole she practices intermittent fasting until around noon.
I usually eat something about 12. In the morning, I'll have some things that won't spike my blood sugar, right? So I have coffee, I'll have a celery juice, but I really like soup for lunch. I have bone broth for lunch a lot of the days.
To that I say, Gwyneth, you have soup and bone broth. Because calm the hell down. It's a lot. I'm joking. Neither of them are enough for a meal.
It's a little liquidy for a meal.
Yeah.
I've always said a meal needs a crunch. And I just don't think a soup. I'll allow a soup if it's with a piece of bread.
Oh, yes.
But when we're getting a bit brothy and when it could all just kind of be slurped up, I just feel like our stomach needs a bit of...
I feel like, is that part of a meal? Sure. Is that a whole meal? Absolutely not.
No.
She then says, I try to do 1 hour of movement. So I'll either take a walk or I'll do Pilates. Then I dry brush and I get in the sauna. I do an infrared sauna for 30 minutes. After a big day of doing all of those things, she finally has a paleo dinner with lots of vegetables to support her detox.
And then for dinner, I try to eat, according to paleo. So lots of vegetables. We live in California, so there are farmers markets all over, which is such a blessing. Like all the vegetables, things that are in season and from local farms.
And to that I say, what?
Where's the part where you're not detoxing?
What are you detoxing from? Because you don't consume anything.
The rectal ozone layer that's been
Yeah.
inserted into her vagina.
Probably wasn't healthy. So as a 50-year-old, physically active woman, she consumes mostly soup, bone broth, and vegetables. But I'm a journalist. I'm not really.
I'm not really.
And Jessie, so are you, kind of. And so we both individually, at the time of this, we listened to the whole podcast.
Oh, what we don't agree with is taking things out of context.
No.
And by that we mean if we don't have time, sometimes we need to take things out of context. But that day we had the time.
We did.
And so we listened to the beginning through to the end because we thought, you know what, it might have been cut up funny and she might have said in the middle, I also have big salad sandwich or I have a great pasta.
Or I also then go through drive-through methods.
Yes, it's something just to sustain oneself.
In her defense, there are other elements to her diet. Celery juice with lemon, for example, or lemon water. She says she has trouble with methylation and her body is not
I
a
don't
natural
think that's real.
detoxer. And speaking of her paleo dinners, she says,
It was hard at first when I thought, I'm going to have to eliminate all the joys and all the pleasure. And it's not true.
but then she found ingredients that are packed with flavour, like chilies, herbs, and lemon. And to that I say, none of those things have calories, Gwyneth.
That's a coincidence. And did she say herbs?
Chilies and herbs.
Herbs. It's just how Americans say
the word herbs, yes.
That's just a little observation. A few days later, she got on her Instagram stories and she answers questions about the backlash to that interview. And she says, it's important for everybody to know I was doing a podcast with my doctor. Medical doctor? No. Just a doctor who
Of
happens
something.
to be hers. She says, so therefore she's been working with Dr. Cole to really focus on foods that aren't inflammatory. She says, I eat full meals and I also have a lot of days of eating whatever I want. You know, eating French fries and whatever. And no, Gwyneth, we don't know.
No.
We don't
No.
know. Is it just French fries?
That's not true. That's what you've said isn't true.
Give me a meal that isn't broth. That's all I'm asking. A non-brothy meal. Of course, it is one thing to have a conversation about your health in private. But her having this conversation on a podcast that then went viral.
With a fake doctor.
Yes, feels dangerous. And it started this whole conversation about whether what she has been describing for years is actually an eating disorder. And we all laugh about her quirkiness. So the model Tess Holiday, she did a TikTok and basically said she went to a Hollywood event and all the celebrities are sitting down and the food is about to come out and Gwyneth announces that her and her table are not having the food that everybody else is having. She's having cauliflower pizzas. And everybody laughs and it's just, oh, Gwynny, oh, Gwynny. And Tess Holiday was saying, why do we keep thinking it's a joke?
And it's a feature of her personality
Yeah.
that she's a little bit eccentric with food. But really what we're seeing is the manifestation of an eating disorder. It is actually pretty sad.
It is sad. And that's what I do want to say, that at the time it became very ha-ha.
Mm.
And I'm all for ha-ha. But I do think we need a little bit of empathy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'll go full haha on the rectal ozone layer.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe the bone broth. I mean, to me, that's very sad.
One thing we can laugh at, and I'll need to explain why we can laugh at it because it sounds like you can't, but you can. The skiing trial. Let me explain. Anybody who missed this. Gwyneth Paltrow went to court for skiing. Wait, no. That's silly. Here's what happened. In January 2019, retired optometrist, which the
Critical
eyesight thing-
detail,
the
critical
eyesight thing came
detail.
into it. But Terry Sanderson
Yeah.
sued Gwyneth Paltrow for $3.1 million. He claimed that in 2016, she recklessly crashed into him while skiing.
Nothing brings me greater joy than this. Okay, so Terry is just minding his own business on a ski slope. And he's just skiing along, just la, thinking about how he's going to go get in front of the fire later, have maybe a hot chocolate, maybe a red wine, maybe them together, right? and he's just enjoying what I assume to be
I
retirement.
think he's got headphones on and he's listening to Lovely Day, Lovely Day. He's just like,
Lovely day. And he is skiing towards retirement and just thanking his lucky stars for his 20/20 vision because he is an optometrist, which means he's got great eyes. And if he doesn't, he's got a great goggle set on. And he's really loving it, going about his own business. And then he gets smacked really, really hard by an oncoming
Gwyneth.
skier. And he turns around and he goes, is my 20/20 vision fooling me? Or is that the Gwyneth Paltrow? And the thing about Gwyneth that we all know to be true is she would have skied off because she is also in her own world because she also has her headphones on going, lovely day. Like, in my mind, she's not with her family. She's just going down a ski slope towards no one knows where on her own path. And then she hits 6 more people. Like the fact
she does, she yells, "Get out of my way!"
The fact she hit a man, a senior citizen, on her ski slope is the least surprising thing I've ever heard. I'm just surprised they sue her.
Correct. This is a bit that isn't funny. He said the accident left him with a permanent traumatic brain injury and broken ribs. Now, Gwyneth denied she had collided with Terry.
It feels like something you'd remember.
Well, she said they did have a collision, but he crashed into her. So she countersues in February 2019 for $1.
The hide, if Terry did collide and he's skiing down a slope and he hits Gwyneth and then sues her, the audacity of that move.
I'm into it. I think it's hilarious.
I would ski on and just go, let's never talk of this again.
The suit for $3.1 million was dismissed. It was all a little bit excessive. It's a lot to ask
too much.
for.
It's too much.
So he went, I overshot, thinking we'd land somewhere in the middle.
But I overshot so badly, and this is what you don't want to do, offend. You don't want to offend and upset a court. So you go, no. Sorry. I put an extra 0 there. Let's just one.
No, he actually did because he dropped it to a cheeky 300.
Yeah, right. So he just said, no, I got mixed up with my zeros, which could happen to anyone.
And Gwynny said, can I afford it? Yes. Do I want to pay it? Absolutely not. Paltrow is behind him.
Where are these skiing slopes again? I need
Utah, Park City, Utah.
Okay.
Sanderson's story in court was this. So picture this.
Okay.
Gwyneth Paltrow is behind him, which means he has right of way.
Right.
The extent to which only rich people know skiing etiquette.
Can you imagine you and I?
You'll be like,
We skied once. I hurt my knee. It was just a whole thing. Yeah.
He says she turned to watch her children ski. And how did he see that if
From
he was
in front
of her?
You know why? He's an optometrist. And he has 20/20 vision. And he has special
my
goggles.
question is, if he turned around to watch her turn around, then he wasn't skiing very safely.
No, but the way that optometrist eyes work, because that's the detail that's been in everything, is that he actually has 360-degree eyes. So he can see, he has incredible peripheral vision, so much so that he can see Gwyneth behind him.
Well, as she turned back around, she screamed and ran into the back of Sanderson, according to him. He was left face down and unconscious and says Gwynny bolted off and he went to the emergency room. Sanderson says he has a brain injury.
It doesn't not feel Gwyneth.
Like that bit, I'm like, Sanderson's friend said in court that he used to be an outgoing, charming, gregarious person, and after the accident, quote, he's no longer charming. I'm like, did we need
when
that
you
on
call
the
on a
record?
witness and you're like,
Okay.
well, thanks, mate.
Like, he's not doing well. Like, let him be. Sanderson was told by doctors he can't ski anymore, and he loses his way because the crash affected his visual memory. But Gwyneth's team says no. They didn't want to seem like they were beating up an old man. Sanderson was in his 70s at the time of the crash, and he still is. But they did a little bit have to prove why Gwyneth wasn't going to pay $300,000. They say the pair did collide 7 years ago on that ski run, but Sanderson crashed into Gwynny. She was upset, and as she skied away, she yelled, "You!"
Okay, I believe this already. What did you say?
You skied directly into my back. And he said,
I'm so confused. Who was in front and who was behind?
And he said, I'm sorry. That's her story. I have to say, I believe it, but it also sounds like a rude interaction. And courts need to get better at prosecuting rudeness.
That's a really good point.
They say members of Gwyneth's group checked on Sanderson. He said he was okay. And to that I say he was probably embarrassed. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
That's mortifying.
I just ran into Gwyneth Paltrow
On a ski slope and I upset her.
Leave me alone. Gwyneth's team said Sanderson was exaggerating his claims and trying to exploit her because of her wealth and fame. And look, Gwyneth did end up winning her symbolic $1. So the court did rule in her favour. What we're interested in, of course, the highlights from the courtroom and the reactions. So first, just a couple of highlights. Her courtroom dressing. Jessie, the glasses. The Jeffrey Dahmer glasses. Really weird.
Yeah, I didn't know she wore glasses.
She looked like she wanted to go skiing.
Yeah, was it emphasising vision?
I think.
Was it saying I'm a woman who puts glasses on when I need them?
So I didn't run into this man. Her lawyer also couldn't explain what happened because it was incredibly confusing and also boring. So he kept stopping and starting about she was in front and behind.
She hears, suddenly she sees, and a man comes up right behind her. It's like they begin falling to the right, and he hits down side and his head, and I think she might have said the F word. Okay, take that out of your mind.
And hard relate, lawyer, because sometimes we have that in the council courtroom.
Yeah. It's very skiing. Like who's ever in front and whoever is behind.
What is a ski slope?
Yeah. And was it I wondered what kind of run it was.
The lawyer asked. I think it was a blue run, but Gwyneth can ski black. Sanderson's lawyer, Kristen Van Orman, read a quote to Paltrow about how the collision with Sanderson deterred her from enjoying a very expensive vacation.
Oh.
And Paltrow responded, iconically,
Is it true that you feel it's unfair that Mr. Sanderson has brought this case against you? And he has deterred you from enjoying the rest of what was a very expensive vacation?
Well, I lost half a day of skiing.
And it has gone viral because the woman was on trial for causing a brain injury. And for her to say, I lost half a day of skiing. Oh, sweetie.
Apparently that turtleneck, that cream turtleneck she wore was $14,000 or something.
Doesn't surprise me. Jessie, I want us to reenact this encounter. I'll be the plaintiff's lawyer. You be Gwyneth Paltrow.
Okay.
May I ask how tall you are?
I'm just under 5'10".
I am so jealous.
I think I'm shrinking though.
I have to wear 4-inch heels just to make it to 5'5".
Well, they're very nice. What the fuck
How is this? Who's funding this? What a waste.
What a waste of taxpayer. I don't know if taxpayers' dollars have anything to do with it, but if I was bloody Terry,
She's just...
I'd be going, enough with the small talk, ladies. I have a brain injury.
Finally, when Gwyneth won and she leaves the courtroom with her $1 victory, she whispers in Sanderson's ear.
Wait. I should guess. See you on the slopes.
No, because he can't ski anymore.
Okay, guess you need a new pair of glasses.
No. Do you want me to just tell you what she
Yes,
said? I wish you well.
Oh, it's so passionate.
And everyone said it felt quite terrifying.
Yeah. Especially with the Jeffrey Dahmer glasses.
Yeah. Jessie, then there's the memes. Do you want to just let us know some of your favourites?
All right, we've got, if Goop doesn't send out a newsletter that's got some sort of 6 looks to wear when you're on trial, but it doesn't really matter shopping guide, I will lose my god mind.
Yes.
Me watching Gwyneth Paltrow testifying and believing every word she's saying, having no idea what this case is about and who is at fault. I agree. I was with Gwyneth the entire time.
Same.
I don't even like Gwyneth. Only Gwyneth Paltrow could pivot from half the internet being furious about her diet of bone broth and coffee to allegedly skiing into someone and giving them a brain injury and somehow come out of it looking iconic. It was like I was looking at this and being like, oh, you couldn't script it. What an iconic week. I was like, she is on trial. For a crime. No one has ever looked more like a person on trial for crashing into someone on the slopes of a high-end ski resort. And it is Jeffrey Dahmer, Gwyneth Paltrow. Yeah, look, it's the turtleneck and the glasses.
It's a lot. And my favourite was just a scene from the courtroom with the sentence, "This entire Gwyneth Paltrow ski trial was written by Mike White." It's exactly what it felt like. I would have watched the whole thing. So many people I know were like, oh no, I'm watching it live.
Yeah, they found it.
It's not a TV show. The man's got a brain injury. Jesse, those are two recent things that have happened since our initial episode on Gwyneth, but I have a memory that I just thought I'd quickly bring to the courtroom. Going back in time, it's the mid-1990s. And Gwynny is the next big thing. She's bar hopping in leather pants. She's drinking cocktails. She's smoking cigarettes. So she is living with her best friend, Winona Ryder, and they start...
I didn't know they were best friends.
Yeah, living together. And they start dating. Gwyneth's dating Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And Winona is dating Matt Damon.
Oh, what a power
Quadruple.
Quadro. Was this kind of Winona's Girl Interrupted years?
Just before Girl Interrupted.
Right, before she blew up.
Now, there had been whispers about a film in Hollywood that everybody knew was just going to be great.
Okay.
It was produced by a little-known man named Harvey Weinstein. And every time he comes up in the courtroom, it's a little bit ironic. But to that I say, the man's gone to court, he's spending his life in prison. What do you want us to say?
It's not for here.
It's not for here, it's hard to find the funnies. But that movie was called Shakespeare in Love.
Who is she?
Dream on, Will.
I heard you were a poet.
I was a poet till now.
Shakespeare!
My heart belongs to you, but I will marry Wessex a week from Saturday.
I would defy 1,000 Wessexes.
Or, if you've seen Scary Movie, Shakespeare in Love.
Hey, girl, I'm in the movie. Shakespeare in Love.
Every actor wanted the script for Shakespeare in Love. Everyone. And Winona Ryder had one on her coffee table. She was meant to play the female lead. But Gwyneth saw the script, read it, called her agent and said she wanted the role, and she got it. She then won an Oscar for it. Winona did Girl Interrupted, but she wasn't the star from that, the breakout star. It was Angelina Jolie. Gwyneth and Winona's friendship falls apart, and things don't go that well for Winona. In 2001, she gets caught shoplifting, and she says it's because of her prescription drug dependency.
I think maybe I'd do a cancelled episode on her, but I liked it when she stole.
Which you can't say.
You can't say on a
can't
podcast.
say. My question is, does Gwyneth break people skiing in Hollywood? But pause your judgment.
Okay.
There's a potential other side to this story because in 2009, Gwyneth sends a Goop newsletter about why it feels so good when bad things happen to people you don't like, which great content.
Written by her?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she basically talks
Great
about
headline.
having this frenemy who was hell-bent on taking me down. This person really did what they could to hurt me. I was deeply upset. One day I heard that something unfortunate and humiliating had happened to this person, and my reaction was deep relief and happiness. There went the high road, and everyone was like, you're talking about Winona
when she stole.
When she stole. And come on now. Come on, leave her alone. She's faced her time. I don't know if she did. Then in the early 2000s, Gwyneth becomes besties with Madonna. She introduces Madonna to her personal trainer, Tracy Anderson.
Oh, yeah, Tracy Anderson method. I Googled what that was after I heard her talking about it with Dr. William Cole.
Madonna starts raving about Tracy Anderson quite publicly. Then suddenly their working relationship ends. Apparently, Madonna and Gwyneth then have a falling out. And the question is, did Tracy cause it? Or was Tracy the result? Because Gwyneth still swears by Tracy Anderson.
Yeah.
Love to start my day with working out, and for 16 years, Tracy Anderson has been my go-to.
In 2010, literally the time the friendship was clearly dissolving, Gwyneth tells Us Weekly, I can be mean, I can cave into gossip, I can ice people out, and I definitely harbour revenge. Then she talks about a dissolving friendship, doesn't name who it's with, and she says, I'm having a situation right now with a friend where I'm feeling pretty angry, but revenge is corrosive and it doesn't make me feel good. Then she says of Madonna's relationship with Tracy Anderson, it's good that Tracy doesn't train Madonna anymore. She keeps people waiting. It takes up your whole day. Okay, so you're saying that Madonna's late. And I bet Winona was late too.
Oh, okay.
Tracy Anderson, meanwhile, said, I wouldn't look to Madonna for psychological advice. Madonna can demand whatever she wants to demand. She's Madonna. That's just what it is. It wasn't working for me because my demands are like, I have a kid. When I missed my son's saxophone concert because of a training session with her, I was like, I can't do this anymore. That was it for me.
Bad-mouthing Madonna on the public record.
So I just think there's some interesting friendship stuff there where Gwyneth seems like she has falling outs.
She crossed Winona.
With I think she doesn't like, I think she looks at her friends and says, I can't take on your chaos.
Yeah, right.
I am ordered. My hair is neat.
I'm a woman going down a slope, and if you're in my way, I'm hitting you.
I'm on trial.
I'm on trial right now. I can't be dealing with your chaos.
Yeah. Jessie, it's time for charges and sentences. I'm going first.
Okay.
Okay, so I made a joke at the beginning. Yep. That she had been put on trial for skiing.
Yeah.
I do actually want to put her on trial for skiing. Reasons skiing should be against the law include it's only for rich people. I can't afford skis or ski clothes.
Too much gear. Too heavy.
It's cold and intensely physical.
Mm-hmm. Dangerous.
Where is the snow in Australia? It's far away and not there that much.
Yep.
But most importantly, you always hurt yourself.
You do.
And that's why.
And you break a leg. You don't roll an ankle when you ski.
Yeah.
You break your femur.
Or you fall off a cliff.
Okay. Here's how the world hasn't caught up, right? With the frequency of skiing accidents, why is it that every rescue mission takes too long? It's like a helicopter has to descend from somewhere on a mountain to save someone who has a bone protruding from their stomach. And it's like, why do we do this? Is it that fun? Is it fun enough to justify permanent
You will get
injury?
No, we have a friend who went skiing for the first time with a group of people.
Dislocated her shoulder.
She dislocated her shoulder, felt too embarrassed to say anything because everyone had gone, bought the gear, was staying somewhere.
And you don't often go skiing for a day.
You go for like a week.
You go for a freaking week and you always hurt yourself on day 1 or 2.
Jessie, we've been skiing a total of one time.
Yeah.
You want to share what
and
happened?
I lost control. I lost control on the slopes.
You were more confident than you should have been.
Yes. My confidence was too high. I started at the top of the slope, as you often do. And because I hadn't learnt what some might call the principles of skiing, I figured that if I just had my feet parallel, at some point I'd stop. Turns out that's how you go cross-country speed skiing. So I was catching air. Catching air. I hadn't learnt pizza or whatever you call it. I was 25, which is not the age you should learn to ski. You should learn to ski when you're close to the floor, when you're a child. But instead...
But only rich people learn to ski when they're close to the floor.
So if you see a bad adult skier, it's an indication that they're poor. So I'm skiing, and then at one point your partner tried to catch me because he knew things were about to get very serious. And then I just had to fall to one side suddenly in order to save myself and others. Because if Terry had been on that slope, I'd have hit him hard. And I probably would have kept going and
just yelled, sorry.
I'd have said sorry, but I couldn't have helped.
No.
Because I can't stop. I can't stop. And here's the other thing. Here's the thing we haven't prosecuted enough. Let's say Gwyneth did hit Terry really hard as she's going down a slope. Explain to me this. How did she get back up to Terry? Once you've gone down, you've got that momentum. There is no clawing oneself back up.
No, I think that they did the thing where your skis get intertwined and you fall down together.
Oh, it's so humiliating.
That's important.
Yeah, that's so embarrassing.
Essentially, I believe Gwyneth Paltrow needs a permanent ban from skiing. Because when she skis...
What's she to do?
When she skis, she may not leave people with traumatic brain injuries, but she is rude. And as we've said time and time again, it's not very nice.
Yep.
So that is my sentence. Gwyneth, no more skiing. You have plenty of other rich person
She's on a
hobbies.
skiing ban.
Mm.
Okay, I love it. Look, my charge is similar. I mean, after all, we are consulting the same rule book, which doesn't exist. And that is that, yes, a woman went to trial, but as we said, she might have won in the courtroom. But in this courtroom, she's found guilty of rudeness.
Oh.
And that was the yelling as she flew past, which, can I get confirmation what that was again?
I said, you skied directly into my effing back. And he said, oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
It's too aggressive. All right. It's too aggressive for a holiday. When people are trying to do allegedly rich people activity, we don't speak to each other rudely. What it is, on top of rudeness, and I've got it here in front of me, is it's poor skiing etiquette. Okay? Because we've got to be going around each other.
Well, she says he ran into her, but her lawyer's confused about that.
But be a better skier.
Even still, a little mutual apology.
Oh, sorry. And then you just keep going. It's fine. We run into each other on the street all the time. We don't have to yell. Look, I thought I'd workshop a sentence with you. What do you think?
You know what she'd hate?
What?
Would be, because, okay, so mine, I've banned her.
Mm.
And then you say, well, you got a year ban, then you're allowed to again, but you need to be taught to ski again. And she would hate that because she'd say, I do black runs. And it's like, shh, child, stop it. You're going to go with this little 3-year-old who's going to teach you some pizza and French fries.
Yeah. The
you
basics
listen to
of
them,
skiing.
hold their hand.
Yeah.
Come on.
And it's not only the basics of skiing, but you get someone come along and say, no, let's talk skiing etiquette. No, we will. And this is how you get off a ski lift. This is what we don't yell. We don't yell. We don't harass.
And she'll keep trying to say...
Right of way. I just think we need a whole...
She'll keep trying to butt in and say, we hate snowboarders. No, stop butting in. This isn't your class.
Yeah. And we must share. And we must share with snowboarders.
We got to start at the beginning.
Speaking of skiing and injuries, I mean, snowboarders are even worse.
Oh, come on. Can you get on a snowboard? What do you expect? Tell me what you... Oh, sorry. Do you think you're going down that slope unharmed? How ridiculous. Look at the gravity.
Yeah, probably break a neck.
Oh, it's like surfing. Yeah, well, in surfing, you're landing on water.
It's a lot softer than hard snow.
I'm just... Anyway.
I hate skiing.
I don't think I'll go back.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Cancelled. The executive producer of Cancelled is Talissa Bazaz, with audio editing by Thom.
If you want the receipts from today's episode, such as courtroom clips, our producer just said, don't you dare promise receipts, but they are coming. Somebody left a podcast review and said, do they post things on their Instagram? Sometimes,
yes.
And that's
it's been a busy few weeks. I thought laser gews would understand, but sometimes they're very demanding.
It's coming. Actually,
have those of us who have never promised something and not followed through in the allotted time throw the first stone.
There will be receipts now, 2025. You don't know when. And that's what keeps things spicy.
That's why you got to follow, because you need a notification to say it's come.
So enjoy and bye.
Bye.
If you have loved listening today, become part of the community that makes you feel seen, heard, and understood like never before. Subscribe to Mamamia. There's a link in the show notes.